this is Pocket, and I'm here with Paul Sage at the Elder Scrolls Online booth. So, Paul, can you tell our viewers what you do?
I am the creative director for Elder Scrolls Online.
Awesome. So, let's get into what you're showing here at PAX.
So what we're showing is Elder Scrolls Online. We've got, for people on the show floor, we've got a 20-minute demo where they come in and they play in the Daggerfall Covenant. It's a zone called Glenumbra.
Awesome. I actually got to play, and I got to do a little bit of the questing in the game, and as someone who played Skyrim, I didn't get into other Elder Scrolls games, but I did get into that, and it did have that feel. So in the future, how are you looking to tie more of that into the game, like, and perfect that feel of the classic Elder Scrolls game?
Yeah, so hopefully when you played, you got to see a little bit how that's all tying together and you know, really meets the Elder Scrolls. You know, one of the things I think we talked about earlier was, you know, you had almost a distracted feel of like, oh, it's hard to get that one quest, right? And so that's one of the things we really want to do is allow a lot of player freedom. So, you know, if you want to ignore our quest and go do something else, you can go do that. If instead you want to craft or you decide you want to PvP, which is something you can do that too. So really it's about player freedom and then providing enough distractions where they're like, okay, I'm on this quest, I'm going to go, oh gosh, you know, I want to go do this other thing, and that should be great.
That was the problem I had, is I picked up a quest, and then as I'm running, I picked up another quest, and so I go run to that quest, and I picked up another, and I'm like, I'm never going to get quests done because I keep wanting to go and help this other person, and so that's pretty much and it was the typical, you know, that's what I ran into in Skyrim. But I did like that. I like that it had that feel, and the art style fit that as well. But how are you tying the other art styles into the game?
So the nice thing is, for instance, I think back in October we had an event where people started in Skyrim, and you know, one of the things that people noticed immediately was, wow, this really looks, you know, a lot like Skyrim, because we pay very careful attention to, say, the details of the architecture, you know, the land and everything else, and then we get to visit places like Morrowind, of course, and you know, there's our own take on Morrowind. Everything's 1,000 years in the past with our game. But then you can see places that you haven't seen since, you know, like 8-bit computers or 16-bit, right? So you see places like Daggerfall, and you know, it's this big, huge city, and that's been great because then we get to kind of, you know, take a little bit more liberty with the art style. But they've always been very true to kind of a set tone. I think our art team has done a terrific job.
Okay, so we know that there's going to be the single player content, and how is the multiplayer content going to be implemented into the game and still fit the story?
So one of the great things when you see people play together, like they can group up really easily, but what they can do is they can play through any of the quests, and some people will make different decisions, right? And so one of the fun things to hear at the convention here has been, say somebody says, oh, well, I didn't really help Crafty Larissa out, or I gave this one lady the poison, which is one of the quests, and then their friend will say, wait, you did that? I did this, and they were playing right next to each other and they didn't really know. So it's really easy to get to play with other people, but you know, there's also dungeons in the game, and we have 4-man dungeons that you can run through, and those are great. And then when you hit level 50, those dungeons, there's actually a part 2 to them. And so it's not just the same dungeon. It opens up new areas in the dungeon, and there's a new story going on there.
Any plan for raids?
So while we're keeping it a little close to what we're doing for large group content, I will say that there is plans in the works for how we're going to handle the large groups that we're not talking about yet.
Okay.
Yep.
And you did mention PvP earlier. How is the PvP going to work in this game?
So we have 3 alliances that the players can start in, right? And so as a member of the alliance, if you want to go into PvP, let's say you just want to go in alone, you want to go into Cyrodiil alone, well, you're vulnerable because any of the other alliances can attack you directly.
Yes.
But you can also go out and you can basically kill other players if that's what you want to do, or you can actually go on adventure and not even pay attention to it. You can just go through and play quests and gather, you know, let's say resources for crafting. If you go in with a group, maybe you want to do something different. Like, let's say you want to take one of the resource nodes, which is something like a lumber mill that feeds a keep. Well, these farms and these lumber mills and things like that are these smaller things that help feed a bigger objective, which is having your alliance control the most keeps. And then if you want to go in with a really large group, like say 15 or more, you'll be able to take a keep. And you know, that's where we start getting into siege warfare. You have things like catapults, you have trebuchets, you have boiling oil. You know, it just really makes this, you know, huge war effort really come alive.
So I'm going to move into classes now that we talked about combat a bit, but I played a Templar, and of course, you know, I could go into healing. But one thing I noticed is that you could go into the different armor types, you could also go into the different weapon types, or just the way you wanted to go, you could go there. And there were so many different options. So in regards to combat and PvP, how do you plan on balancing all of that?
So balance is one of the most fun things we get to do, right? And it's I know people are looking for, is there going to be this best build or is there going to be something else? But one of the mechanisms we have is, remember, when you have all of those skill lines that you open up, you have what I tend to refer to as kind of a hand out of your deck, right? Which are the 5 abilities that you can have ready at any one time.
Yeah.
Now at level 15, that opens up to where you can have a swap, where you can swap that ability bar out, with a weapon. But again, you get to control anything you put into that bar. So it's kind of like what you go into battle with are those 5 abilities that you think, okay, this is how I'm going to approach this situation. And so it really almost is more than a build, it becomes kind of a situational thing, which is how do I want to build out for this round of combat or whatever I'm doing at this time.
So you can go in and you're like, well, I didn't like having 2 heals, I'm going to swap that out for this. And then once you're in combat, I imagine you can't change it?
When you're in combat, you can't change it unless you have the weapon swap,
okay.
And again, then that's the only way you'd be able to change it, right?
Say I want a bow and I want to have leather armor. How is that going to vary between the different classes, or will it not vary at all?
Any class can equip any armor or any weapon.
Okay.
So if you want to have a bow and you want to sneak around, then maybe you want medium armor, right? Or if you want to have a bow, but you want to concentrate more on your spells, then maybe you wear light armor, which might enhance your magicka. So really it's up to you in the way you want to gear that out.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. What's your favorite feature in the game right now?
Oh boy, this is always the toughest question. Favorite feature right now that we can talk about.
Okay.
Honestly, I think one of my favorite features tends to be, I'd say crafting right now, just because I kind of like whatever's newest. Like, so you ask me on a different day, it's combat, or something like that. But I think our crafting system is really cool because it has the experimentation that you have with, if you played alchemy crafting in Skyrim, then it's like that. So, I think crafting for now.
In Skyrim, one of my favorite things were the guilds and the accessing all the guilds. So I know that the fighter and the mage is available in this one. In the future, do you plan on adding more guilds into the game?
I think it's natural that we will. And the reason I say that is if you play the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild, you'll open up these spell lines, right? So, or the skill lines that you're talking about, right? So, but later on, we have lots of things you can add. So we can add more of those skill lines as you go up. And the nice thing is when you get past the level cap, you'll still work on those skills. So you'll still increase those skills. So you'll just be broadening out your character as much as you want. And then you'll be able to maybe max season. Oh, there's another skill line that we release, right? So, and I think that's what's really cool about it is the fact that you have that breadth that we can just add anytime. So I expect more guilds will come in.
It's really important that I be able to sneak into people's houses and steal from them. Is that in the works, or is that in the game at all?
So that is something that we talk about a lot, obviously. One of our first things was to get that high level of interaction where you can just take things, right?
Yeah.
And then we have to make sure we're really careful about it, because if you are able to take all of these things for this, then how would you impact other players that are playing at the time? So we're being really careful about it, but I don't mean to be cagey, but maybe, it's definitely something we look at, yeah.
Well, awesome, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Absolutely, thank you.